Hey, everybody, welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with my good friend, William Taylor here, Senior Vice President of Partnerships at Relocity. I'm sorry. It's Relocity. It's Relocity.
It's Relocity, buddy.
What's up, this man? Is so good to have you. Anytime you're around, I'm automatically, my mood is elevated. I'm in a good time. I'm having a good time. I'm in a good mood.
No, that's kind of awesome. You, man. It's a problem I have. I can't stop smiling. It's a, maybe it's a blessing. It's a curse. Who knows? But
it's beautiful. It's
making people feel good. It makes me feel good. So it's always nice to see you, my friend.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. We got people checking in. Yo, if you're watching right now, get in the comments. If you're excited to see William Taylor, aka Diamond Bill.
Oh boy, all the nicknames are coming out.
Get in the comments. If you've got nicknames we need to know, don't hold out.
What's up, Elizabeth? Good to see you, my friend.
We've got Nicole Zakara here from Boston.
Nicole.
Tessa Boone, loose definition of gentleman.
What's up, Tessa?
Love Tessa. Tessa's eating the donuts today. Appreciate you, Tessa. Sherelle Kilgore, Williams on Love It Real. Yes.
What's up, Sherelle?
This Farrell Elliott looking forward. Keep smiling.
I will keep smiling. 100%.
Do you sing? Are you a karaoke guy?
Is that a Dionne Warwick? I've been known to do some karaoke in my day. It requires a lot of mezcal. But yeah, I can sing.
Let me ask you this. Work event you are most likely to do karaoke. And this is an audience participation question, okay, on Love and Real. This is what we call a party starter. This is something we just kind of sprinkle out into the universe and just see what comes back to us, okay? This is a karma question, okay? It's an easy one. It's a layup, it's softball for y'all, all right? If you're watching right now, get in the comments. I want to know, what is the industry event you are most likely to do karaoke at? I want to know, industry event you are most likely to do karaoke at. Put it in the comments. We're going to give you all shout outs. Diamond Bill, what is the industry event you are most likely to do karaoke at?
Wow, man. Probably some sort of Rocket Mortgage ERC sponsored party where people get up and embarrass themselves. Won't be me, but it would be, I don't know, you, some other folks who
I don't know, you.
I will tell you, in the early days of Relocity, like literally my first year with the company, this was almost 5 years ago, the team was fewer than 12. I mean, we might have been 10 or 12. And we had a holiday event in Los Angeles. We were all in LA where the headquarters is. And we did karaoke. And that was the first, last, and probably only time that I got to see our CEO and founder, the esteemed Klaus Sigmund, sing karaoke. I wish I had it on video. It was beautiful. I love you, my friend.
Klaus. Shout out to Klaus. Somebody tag Klaus in the comments here. Let him know. What was the song, William?
Oh, gosh, man. You had to ask.
I'm sure we can use generative AI to actually recreate it.
We definitely could. I have no idea. If my friend Jeremy is on, he probably remembers. He's employee number 2. So
I love it. I was hanging out with Jeremy recently in Dallas. Good dude.
Yeah, Jeremy's a great guy. Jeremy Kopp,
Lisa Ross,
director of sales.
Hi from gloomy San Diego.
Hey, Lisa. Charles, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. I got to meet Charles in Dallas a few weeks ago. Tila Gleason. I feel like Tila, I'm going to see some of your esteemed colleagues later today. Got to meet up with Gavin and Scott. They're out in the Bay Area, so we're going to get together this evening. Some of the Sudeth folks.
Love Gavin. Shout out to Gavin Bosco.
What's up, Dan Susko? He just joined our team at Relocity as a director of partnerships. We love Dan.
Nice little pickup there.
Thank you.
I like that one. Hey, Dan.
Only the best.
Detroit. Are you partial to Detroiters? True or false?
Me, 100%, man. When our senior recruiter let me know that we were chatting with somebody from Detroit, I said, he's done. He's got the job. I don't even need to meet him.
Doesn't matter. I don't even got to talk to him.
That is
Drink Fago. Done.
Fago rock and rye all day long, right? Fago remembers.
This is great. We got Tito Diaz checking in. Hit that like button right now. If you've got questions for William Taylor, aka Diamond Bill, put them in the comments right now. Let us know any questions. It could be about DSP life. It could be about technology. It could be about karaoke songs. It could be about anything, really. We'll ask anything, you know us. I mean, the journalistic standard here is very low. We'll ask anything, really. Jana Shezanowski,
Hey,
awesome to
Jana.
have you, William. Shout out to Brazil in the house. Toronto's in the house. Canada's here. ERC in Boston this fall, maybe June at Relopalooza. That's a hot take. I think Relopalooza is going to be off the chain.
I'm not familiar. Can you tell me more about Relopalooza?
I will. Relopalooza, I think it might be, I think it's the second annual, and it's a joint meeting. Joint meeting just because two different ones are coming together, just so you know. It's in Raleigh. It's in Raleigh, and I think it's the Charlotte, right? It's C-Mark, I think it is, and the Greater Virginia, I think. I hope I got that right. They're coming together to do a Relopalooza joint conference, and it's in late June. Nice. If you got the details, Tila's planning this whole shindig. So if you got the details, Tila,
put it up in the comments here. Let's go.
Don't be sorry. Just put the link in there.
Yeah. Let's get our Relopalooza on.
Mike Falia's got a question for you. William Taylor.
How's your golf game, buddy?
How's your golf game?
I was working on it down in Palm Springs a couple weekends ago. Had a little trip down with some old college friends, and we got out for a few rounds. It's getting better all the time, Mike. I wish I played more, but got this day job that keeps me busy. Relo dreams.
Relo dream. Hashtag Relo dreams in the house here.
Go ahead. Ben, we're going to talk Relo today, right? I mean, this is
I promise.
We've had a solid 7 minutes of love. Let's move the needle over to Relo.
All right, I got one question.
For too long. We don't have to.
I got one question for you. I got one question for you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
How can technology innovation improve the employee experience, the global mobility employee experience?
You just went right to like the bold question.
I mean, if you want it, I'll give it to you. That's how it works here.
Look, man, I think we are at a very important inflection point in our industry where there's been some really exciting developments on the technology front. I would say from the likes of a Relocity, certainly I'm not here to sell Relocity, but I would tell you that we've invested very heavily on the front end user experience. I would say what you get from the RMCs who've invested heavily in technology as well is they've been very much focused on the sort of back end HR side. And I believe so too have been the likes of a Benevo or an Equus or some of those Topias of the world. That's where they've played. That makes sense, right? For us, we believe that there's an opportunity to connect the dots for the end user. And I think, look, I've been in this space for 25 years. We've talked forever about the holy grail of Relo, which is that, that seamless employee experience where we bring together all of the different service providers and give the employee a single point of access to that experience. And so that is what we've been focused on. That's what we've been delivering, and sort of an exciting time for Relocity. I think the industry as a whole is still in sort of a gray period in terms of where we're headed. I think we're still coming out of, still seeing the dust settle from COVID. This year, I think, has been a down year for a lot of the big players. At least my checks with our partners, has their volume certainly down from last year or from the last few years where we saw a lot of pent up demand. And I think we are still just starting to understand what mobility is going to look like going forward. I'm sure you saw the Bloomberg article. Everybody's been talking about the fact that, it's like a 50-year low in terms of employee willingness to relocate for a new job. So what does that mean for our industry?
What do you think's driving that? I mean, we'll get back to the technology piece in a minute, but I want to talk about this macroeconomic trend that you're citing here. I've sensed it, but now we have data to support it. What drives that?
I mean, look, man, it's a confluence of factors. It's over the last few years, we went from sort of like an employer market with respect to talent to a employee market with respect to talent. Talent has the power at this point. The needle has shifted, and so they can say, "Look, I'm looking for jobs that allow me to work right here, or to give me the flexibility to work from home 3 days a week or 5 days a week."
Yeah.
Right. And so there you have it. I think we're still at that side of the pendulum where the employees, the talent has all of the power, and they're driving that dynamic in terms of unwillingness to relocate. I still think as well that I think what's going to happen for corporations is they're going to start looking at the data around where people want to live, where it makes sense for them to find the talent they need, and they're going to go out and open hubs or move the. We've always talked about moving the talent to the jobs. I think we're going to start seeing the jobs moving to the talent.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen some of that with some of the headquarters move, during COVID. I think you're right.
Dallas,
When I put a poll, yeah, I mean, Dallas is huge. Right?
Dallas was a huge recipient.
We're getting a lot of your people right now, William. We're getting a lot, like McKesson came over here.
Yeah,
we're getting a lot of stuff coming this way, to Dallas and Austin, obviously huge. But going back to that whole like employer-employee dynamic thing, and I want to ask, if you're watching right now, get in the comments, because I mean, y'all are expert on this as well. So please chime in here with what you're thinking here. And thank you, Sandra Clary, for citing the article there. Sandra's always adding value. Hit that like button right now. Give Sandra some love there. But when I put a poll out on LinkedIn and ask people, what factor is going to drive their next job decision? Is it compensation? Is it culture? Is it flexibility, i.e. hybrid or remote work? That hybrid or remote work one is still like 60% of the people, even though the data historically has been about 65% of people make job changes based on compensation. That's the one that people are reporting. Now, what people say they're going to do and what people actually do are sometimes different things, but that is definitely at the forefront of people's minds right now. I also think, here's one for you. Tell me what you think about this one. I have a theory that the willingness to relocate is also been driving down due to the way that we're prioritizing our kids and our kids' careers, and the way that we're prioritizing the schools they're in, their friend groups, their athletics. I mean, the way youth sports is now. You basically have to focus on a sport from the time you're 6-7 years old, and just you're in club, you're in rec, you got coaches, whatever.
Yeah, or as was your case, professional cheerleading. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you
best job on the field.
Out, yeah,
exactly. Right? But
yeah,
I aged out. You never age out. Okay. No, but I think that's another one.
Scholarship opportunities there, but hey, I'm still
try moving a 15, 16-year-old right now. Good luck. I mean, I think that's why we see the demographic changes, right?
I live in San Francisco with 2 young kids. I have a 12 and a 9-year-old, and I asked them right around the beginning of the pandemic. I said, "Hey, you guys want to move? Now's the time to move, right?" "No, Daddy, we love our life here. We love our friends. We love our school." So,
well, and how much you care about that answer too has probably changed, right? I mean, I think we're more empathetic now. We're more in touch with our feelings and our mental health, and our work-life balance. I'm using air quotes because, what I mean? But I mean, these are things. It used to be back in the day. You just tell your kids you're moving and that's it. And they cry about it for a week, and you buy them an extra stuffed animal or whatever, and then they say they hate you, but they get over it. And then they, or you just chalk it up to teen angst.
Look, man, I think, it's a difficult decision for a family, for sure, to pull your kids out of school once they're at a certain age and they've sort of built a community of friends. It's very, very difficult. And certainly a lot of the work that we do as a DS is helping those families get plugged into a new community quickly, helping them find the best schools, the best neighborhoods, safe and secure housing, the best sports for their kids, whatever it might be.
Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing for kids? Success. I mean, do you target the kids? Because I mean, I talk to people that do the spousal assistance, and they do all the things, for the accompanying talent, right? We learned it's not the trailing spouse, it's the accompanying talent. But is anything around the kids? I mean, how can we smooth this over for the kids?
Look, our approach has always been a sort of a holistic model that respects the fact that every family member has their own needs and preferences that are going to drive decisions around the relocation. Now, the parents, the partners are going to be the primary decision makers, but understanding what's important to the kids and getting them connected to, again, it might be the sporting community or aftercare or something that they're really passionate about. There's a great story from the early days of Relocity where there was an executive and his family who he had, I think it was 3 or 4 kids. They were considering moving from Chicago out to the LA area. And we got the family set up during their pre-decision trip in LA with surf lessons. And the moment the whole family came out of the ocean, they said, "We're moving to LA."
Done. Done. Yeah,
Who
it's like
knew?
they go over in
Perfect.
Malibu or something. They're just, I can see it now. The way you tell the story, they emerge from the surf, minds
There was
change,
the
hearts
glow.
and
There was a
minds,
halo. There were a lot of rainbows for sure.
sun, organ
Hearts and
music.
minds were changed. Look, you got to sell the whole family. Again, it's when a family is moving with children, no matter what age they're at, they have to be bought into that experience as well. And I think that's why companies work with a DS, or with a spousal assistance, or with any of the other companies out there that have been really focused on the community aspect of a move.
Yeah, I want to get the opinion of the people. This is great. I love this. And nobody's talking about the kids. There's all these aspects that I think people aren't talking about that have compounded to create this situation. Jim Walsh checking in saying, great conversation. This is great.
I see Emily Johnson from my team. What about the transferees' parents? Lots of folks worried about leaving grandma behind.
Listen, who's
Absolutely.
moderating this
Bring
conversation?
grandma with
Okay.
you.
I'm holding back on it. Okay. I'm going to play that spade. Okay. You just got to let me do what I'm doing. I got a narrative I'm trying to craft here. Okay. Richard over in London. It's late in London. He's staying up. Really strange. And there's a reluctance to relocate on one hand and the gig economy with digital nomads on the other. Yeah. You would think it'd be easier, right? Just going to drive Uber over there now, you know?
I think, Richard, I do think that those are sort of interesting opposites, right? I think the challenge there is, the immigration and tax laws will take forever to catch up with the dynamics of the current workforce, meaning the digital nomads, right? Not to go all compliance on us.
Yeah, we don't do compliance very well over here.
You don't do
right?
compliance here at Love.
Yeah,
If it's not the Love and Reloing compliance show,
it's
that could be
too early.
Hey, if you want to pick that one up, maybe you and I can talk about it.
That's been Evo's show. Go check that. All right, so Cliff Pierman says his daughter, he ruined her life. Cliff, how's she doing now? Bring us forward to present. I feel like Jenny Jones.
She's still talking to you. At least she told you that, right? I mean,
well, she's probably still paying the rent. Cliff, what's the deal? She's talking to you. How long did it take her to get over it? What was it? Was it just an amazing trip to the beach with William? What got her over the fact that you moved her away from her friends and family? I mean, I guess not her family, but her friend group. Let us know. I want to really understand that. Emily's saying you pulled it off, Cliff. Oh, we'll see.
I see.
We'll see.
I see a comment from my friend Chris Chalk. Uncertainty plus after effects of COVID plus CEOs have not finalized their remote hybrid work policies are impacting accepting relocations.
Would you like me to bring this comment forward so we can talk about Christopher Chalk's comment?
Let's talk about Mr. Chalk's
comments.
Chris was on. So Relocity hosts I'd say it's once every month or two at this point. We do a virtual corporate roundtable. Chris was one of our speakers last week. We talked about cost savings and efficiencies, and Chris, he's never short on words. So thank you, Chris, for joining. Sort of taking over the show here today, Ben. Let me ask you some questions, buddy. What do you think the promise of technology is as it relates to the improving the employee experience? You talk to a lot of folks.
I think there's a lot of brochureware out there. I think there's a lot of BS sizzle that's being sold out there that doesn't really move the needle. I think a lot of people buy it, which is why it's being developed, which is why there's a market for it. But I don't know that a lot of transferees use it. I think some of the stuff that's underrated is some of the integration stuff and some of the operational stuff that actually makes us faster as an industry instead of some of the front, UX stuff. That being said, I've seen the tech that Relocity has, and I saw it, and I haven't seen it recently. I saw it probably 2 years ago, maybe even 3. And honestly, when I saw it, I was blown away. I thought it was probably top 2 pieces of tech I'd seen in the industry from just from a sheer wow factor, holy crap factor. Like if I were to just draw this up on a board, blue sky, what could we do here? What would it look like? I mean, you guys nailed it. I love the way that y'all brought, what I would consider commonly used tech that we are using, whether it's like Google Maps or whatever, stuff that we're already using today that we're familiar with. Because you don't have to reinvent the user experience and the UX and do everything. You can just bring stuff that's super intuitive that's already being used by everybody. Everybody knows how, and then that they probably would turn your app off for and go use anyway. So you just bring it in and make it all talk together into a cohesive experience. And so to me, that was really super
Well, thank you,
intuitive about
Ben.
what you guys are
Appreciate
doing.
that, man. I think you hit the nail on the head, making it easy and intuitive so that anybody look, I mean, in the world of Relo, you're still going to find people who are averse to using technology. I mean, I think over the course of the next several years, the workplace will become more and more dominated by the Gen X's and Y's and Z's and, all the alphabet of millennials, et cetera, who have grown up with devices in their hands. So there is the expectation that they can complete key pieces of their relocation experience through that mobile device. But you're still going to get people who are averse to that. So you have to make it easy for them and intuitive. Our approach has always been, it's impossible to compete with the Google, but if you have access to a local resource, which are our personal hosts, they're the secret sauce, and you combine that with our mobile tech, which we think is pretty amazing, as you've noted, you can create a pretty exceptional experience. So we've been very fortunate. Shout out to our CTO, Rocky Demoff, and his team, who have really built something pretty special. I never get tired of demoing it or talking about it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there. I think some people get caught up in like competing, like you said, with Google, right? And
You're never
because
going to beat Google.
You can't beat it, right? You can't drive a car around every street in every city, at least even in the United States, and film every, this, move 10 feet, this. Like you can't do it, but you can take stuff that's super intuitive and just like bundle it together in a way that people can kind of seamlessly move throughout it, and kind of in a guided, curated way. So I really like that. Paul saying, "Hey Siri, move me to New York." Half of y'all's phone just went off right now when I said that. This is interesting. People are tuning in here. Rich saying, Relo, when I was a kid, killed me. 1970s factory in Manchester closed. No choice, no guidance. Suddenly had the wrong accent in Wales. Can be grim for kids. Sheesh, man. Sounds like a bad Kevin Bacon movie. Sorry, buddy.
My Reload to Wales. Yeah. Sorry, Richard.
What is that, like Sleepers? All right, I'm sorry, man.
Look, I think as an industry, we have a duty to the clients to make it exciting for them, to make it an adventure. I think companies as well have an obligation to create these new career opportunities and experiences for prospective transferees, right? Adam, thank you for reminding me. We need to give a shout out to the upcoming Bay Area truck pull, which is happening later this year.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you guys are going to be there, right?
We should be. We were there last year. It was epic. It was windy, but it was epic. I think we set a new record for funds raised.
Let's see, what do we got here? Let me see. I need to pull up the dates. I should know this date, right?
Put a link in there. You've got a link to register for this. Okay, yeah.
Here we go. It's on October 4th. It's going to be from 2 to 5, roughly. Stay tuned on that. It's on the USS Hornet, which is this awesome ship that's docked over in Alameda, which is an island just in the San Francisco Bay.
I feel like that's like your stage name. All right, go ahead.
Island Bill? No, it's Action Bill. Oh, hey, Catherine. There you have it. Stay tuned for more information. I bet you we've got a URL that we can, let's see, website. Adam, you got a website you can share in the comments, buddy?
Yeah, he'll grab it. He'll grab it if it's there, if it's published. Let's see.
Last year was a record-raising year for our truck pull in the Bay Area. What did we come in at? Close to $70K that we raised for Move for Hunger. So please come out, sponsor us, help us. We've got a lot of great organizations that are already committed to being a part of this.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and
great cause.
Had a DJ out there rocking. We were out there broadcasting live, which was interesting. Trying to make that happen. A lot of fun, great vibes, and then I think we went out for some beverages afterwards, which was cool. Great networking going on, and I think it was like the day before a BAM event, maybe.
It was, it was the day before the BAM, the fall BAM. Yep,
beautiful.
So
let's see. We got some people talking Relo here. Let's see. Jean Chesnowski. Recently, I talked with a mom who relocated her kids in their teen years. Now, over a decade later, she said it's her biggest regret based on the long-term impact of her life. Unfortunately, professionals still neglecting the impact of culture shock. So, Jana, would that have been different had they had cultural training, language training? Like, is there something that would have been different about that? Had they had different benefits, or it just would have, or was it the fact they moved countries? Like, help give us like a pathway forward here, because as an industry, like, we're in the job of moving people, right? So we're under the premise that people got to go, right? You got to go, you got to go. So how do we make it smooth for them and feasible and sustainable? That's what I'd like to know. Look at Cliff saying that that his daughter did get over it though, eventually. So that's good.
Hey, time heals, right? Time heals all wounds. Look, I'm sorry to hear about that family that regretted the move. I think, again, as an industry, it's our duty to clients to make sure there are no regrets, that we can get them plugged in, get them set up for success, and that we're doing everything we can to take care of them. And that's challenging because, look, we are, budgets for reload continue to shrink, particularly in this environment where companies are looking for cost savings, and that makes it challenging, right? But I do think, amidst we can sit here and knock the industry for not achieving the, a better experience. I do think as an industry, we make a very complex process look easy. And so there's a reason I smile most of the time, Ben, because I think there's a lot of one of the things I know you love coming back every day for is the fact that there's so many great people in this space doing really good work.
It's the best. I mean, the combination of empathy and global curiosity to me is like, makes it just the best people, the kind of people you want to talk to, the kind of people you want to give big hugs to. You want to just show up to their house and climb in their tree house and just kind of hang out,
Yeah, totally. Well, one of the things I loved about being in Dallas at the FEM event was the connection to the University of Texas at Dallas and the program that I know you've played a part in as well in developing that program. That's part of their, I think it's part of their business administration program or part of the business school.
Global business. Yep.
Yeah. But ultimately it's a program that introduces young people to mobility and allows them to do some case studies and engage with professionals in the industry and really get to learn about this amazing career that they could pursue. And I heard a lot from some of the students that presented. I connected with some of them on LinkedIn. I'm still chatting with some of them and just trying to connect them with other folks in the industry. I think that's what we've always needed to get that next generation of leaders excited about what we do. And that University of Texas at Dallas program is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah. I agree. I really enjoyed at the FEM.
Thank you, Cliff. I appreciate that, buddy. I usually charge for the voice, but I'm giving it to Ben for free today. So
it's like when you kind of bring it down, like you kind of bring it in.
I get kind of serious, Ben. Hi, Ben.
And you just kind of tell us about the future of
mobility and reload
and the children. It's for the children, William. I really enjoyed watching them present their case studies because they took such an academic approach. It was like well researched. It's not like the crap that we put on when we go to these panels, right? We're out there, we're just spewing our conjecture all over the audience and anecdotal evidence here and there and stuff like that. And these kids came with like research and they had like footnotes. Like the bar was the rigor there was.
It was impressive, man. Yeah, it was impressive. And the group that won, if you recall, it was a man and woman who presented, and they were very much focused on the community, sort of the community aspect of getting their mock case study settled. I think they were moving to Singapore. And they just had some really great ideas of connecting them to the expat community and getting the family set up and really addressing a lot of what we consider sort of trailing needs of the family. So pretty awesome. Yeah. I hope that we can continue to expand that program.
Yeah, it's really interesting because now we have this pipeline of young people who are really smart, who are now interested in the global mobility industry. But the problem I'm finding as a talent recruitment professional whose job it is to connect amazing talent with amazing opportunities is in order to come in, like what's an entry level position in our industry, right? It's like a relocation consultant or maybe like an associate,
a coordinator or so. Yeah. Associate.
Moving coordinator. Yeah. And you have to have a lot of specialized knowledge. Right. So if you're a relocation consultant, you come in, you kind of can come in on the domestic side, or you can come in on the international side. So if you're on the international side, you have to know international shipping, you have to know immigration, you have to have tax, enough to be dangerous with the tax stuff, some customs stuff. I mean, just be aware of the fact there are customs concerns to discuss, cost of living, and all sorts of stuff, right? You got to know how much a gallon of milk costs, all kind. And then if you do the domestic side, you need to understand home sale and the GBOs and the BVOs and all kinds of stuff. Like, you need to understand all this kind of stuff. And there's not really a great entry level job. And if the one that I'm seeing out there, like the associate level, which is kind of like the assistant, is like a 40K a year job. And these young people are coming out with, they're looking for 60, 70, 80K coming out of college, because their other career opportunities that they go in from coming out of the global business school are at that level. So I feel like we need, as an industry, we have to create a career path that is suitable for these high potentials that are coming out.
That's a very good point, man. That's challenging, because that comes back to making sure that we are selling the value of mobility to the enterprise and to the leadership. And again, I think there's a heavy focus on that right now, is pulling together. And I do think if we shift gears and think about the promise of sort of automation and AI and machine learning and sort of the big, where we take the big data that we've been talking about for 12 years and where do we go with it? I think it's, how do we contextualize that? How do we tie it into our objectives around retaining and growing talent, our sort of human capital objectives, show the impact mobility has made on some of those leaders. Where have they gone? What have they done? How have they stayed? Have we retained them? Then use that to demonstrate the impact of mobility so that we can up-level some of those positions. Because I agree, we're gonna miss out on some really key talent. It's funny, because I was thinking about you in this show as I was watching Ted Lasso recently, and I know that you're a big Ted Lasso fan. I know
huge.
Today's the end of Ted Lasso. It's the last show. Season 3 is getting all kinds of negative remarks, and the Brits are still upset that Ted came and coached one of their teams, and
they're still mad. They're still
not going to get over it. Still not going to get over that. But if you recall, about midway through season 3, what changed the game for them was they went down an approach that they called total football. And that in the games, they started winning all their games, right? Because they sort of created this total. And what you were explaining was, this opportunity to learn so many of the nuances of our industry. And, maybe we need to go back to Hubert and the team over at UT Dallas and roll out a program called Total Mobility, which is kind of like Total Recall, but without the killer robots, so that we can encourage people to learn all of the different nuances. I have been so blessed. When I was the head of mobility at Adobe, I was a one-person show for many years. And so for me, mobility was always relocation, immigration, and tax. It wasn't siloed, it wasn't separated. We did it all because you had to, because you didn't move somebody across a border unless you considered all of those things, right? And so you could wake up every day and learn something new about totalization agreements.
So are you advocating at the next worldwide ERC, are you advocating for a mushroom induced epiphany to reimagine global mobility?
I don't know that it will be mushroom induced, but it will be an epiphany, no doubt. And maybe I need to talk to Lynn and the board and really sell this to the ERC. Total mobility.
Total mobility.
Yeah. First there was Love and Relo, then there was Total Mobility. I'm not saying that I'm starting a new podcast, but maybe I am. And maybe it's called Total Mobility. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, maybe with those smooth stylings of William Taylor, maybe you could.
With the soothing sounds. Yes.
The quiet storm that is William Taylor. Tessa Boone says, I think someone can learn the global mobility specific knowledge. I think the person would need to come with customer service experience.
Definitely. And Ryan, shout out to my friend Ryan Friel over at Fragaman. Good point. I think he said sometimes the best candidates are folks that have lived abroad and return home and are looking for a career change. That is precisely what happened to me. I was living in Southeast Asia for 2 years. I was a teacher. I taught English in Vietnam. I missed out on the whole .com boom. I had all these friends living in San Francisco who were getting paid an insane amount of money to basically blow venture capital money. They literally did nothing. And when I came back, I sort of lucked into a role in college recruiting, which ended very quickly because the .com bubble burst. And the head of HR came to me and said, well, you can learn immigration and relo, or you can have no job. Which one would you like? So I said, sounds fascinating. I'll learn immigration and relo. We didn't even call it mobility back then. And that was it. I had a deep, I'd spent a lot of time traveling in India, about 7 months. And so a lot of the foreign national workers that I was supporting were on visas and had come from India. So we had an instant connection.
Well, and that's one career path, right? Take the only job left, right? Or the other one is Cliff's, which is to just change jobs every few years until you've worked in every job in the business. And that's how you can learn it too.
Not a bad path, Cliff.
But these are the options. I fell into it, basically I fell into it, or I bounced around so I became a well-rounded professional. It's like we need something else. I think we need a third option here. And I don't know that we're going to get it without some the assistance of something else to think about. People are talking here. Farrell saying, as we all know, most people stumble into mobility accidentally. Does the industry attend recruitment hiring events on college campuses? It's interesting. I'm going to ask that in earnest. I want everybody in the comments to answer. Have you done college recruiting for your company? If not, why not? If so, what's been the result? Please be honest. I won't make fun of anybody but William. Just put it in the comments. Let us know honestly, really, because I see some obvious challenges with it. So I'd like to know what your thoughts are. William, you've done a lot of, you said you were a college recruiter at one point. What are your thoughts?
Look, I'm not aware of any companies in our industry that specifically go on campus to do recruiting. I wish there were more. I do know that there is an organization that Andrew Walker has been a big part of, Upward Mobility, that has been working to bring in cohorts of interns to get them introduced into the industry. And I know a lot of the leading companies in our space have benefited from some of those interns. So, shout out to Andrew and the great work that they're doing over at Upward Mobility. Take a look at those opportunities. There's very talented interns that could support your company, not just this summer, but no doubt throughout the year. So,
yeah, I'll talk about ours. Adam Lowy says, fun fact, our internship program has been a great pipeline for employees for our organization. Yeah, Adam's done well with that.
Love it, Adam. So Ben, have you guys worked with Upward Mobility? Got some interns over at Love and Relo?
I'll be completely honest, because that's what I tend to do. We've engaged with Upward Mobility. We are really excited about partnering with them. Our challenge, as we are I'd say we're an in-person first organization, but at the same time, half of our staff is, elsewhere, right? Not here. We really want to build our Dallas, office, right? That's kind of our strategy. Yeah. We've got some seasoned folks around. So, but before we had a Dallas office, we were doing our internships, and so we had, so we have someone in Connecticut, we have someone in the DC area who was originally in New Orleans at Tulane. So we've had success interning them and then bringing them on full-time post-graduation. We have a pretty nice little kind of training mentorship program for 3 months, and then they kind of ease them boom into. We do hire interns with the express purpose of hiring them full-time afterwards. So we do look for that type of a profile. With Upward Mobility, also a key component of the Upward Mobility is they're disadvantaged students, right? So Black, brown students who are looking for, so it's also a diversity angle in here as well, right? Which is also something we're really keen on, right? And we want to do better there, right? And so, but in Dallas, but so where I'm going with this is, if you're trying to do something in person in your locality, in your, where you are geographically, you have to have a partnership with an institution locally in order to make that work. And so we've connected them with the University of Texas at Dallas. I don't know where that is right now, but we would need to have folks coming from local universities. Right now, they're very strong in Denver. They're very strong, like Cleveland State is a part. They've added a bunch of universities, but I think Dallas, I think that's the challenge for us, if I'm being completely honest.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got Kathy saying Andrew Walker's presenting about 11+ tomorrow. Yeah. It's a great org. And they could use,
Very
They
cool.
could use the help too, getting in touch with local universities. Rich was saying, which was the universities where they had an organization on campus which encouraged and developed startups, offered finance. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of universities actually have kind of incubators on campus. Not sure if we've talked about one specifically. Amanda's saying we have an intern starting from that program. Very cool. Yeah, we'd be looking for a graduating senior also. So like maybe they just graduated, or maybe they're graduating after the summertime, looking to start in the fall. Ideally, you get somebody in the winter semester, I guess spring semester to intern, and then boom, summertime. It's like, hello, full time, let's go. I mean, that's the ideal cadence, in my opinion.
100%, man. Yep.
Yep.
Mike
Kathy's saying internship
Quigley.
Fairfield.
Yeah.
Did it work
I
out,
love
Kathy?
that there's so much.
I'd love to know. Elizabeth saying I love 11.
11 plus. Sorry, I call it upward mobility.
No, they're
plus is the
both.
one
They're
top.
both.
Yeah.
11 plus is the internship program for disadvantaged students, and then upward mobility basically leverages the work they're doing over here and then gets them jobs in Relo world.
Love it. Awesome.
So there's two brands kind of working there. Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you. You know, I want to shift gears real quick here.
Okay.
You mentioned like super briefly, you mentioned 2 letters that are just fascinating me right now. And that's AI. And I'm not talking about Allen Iverson. Yeah. I'm talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, ML.
Yeah.
Is that for real? I mean, what's that really going to do to our business? Or is there a real application right now? Or is it kind of smoke and mirrors, kind of like, let's be honest, like blockchain was, right? Blockchain was all the rage and we never really found an application for it. Is this something we really need to stop what we're doing right now and pay attention to? Or do we have a couple of years before we have to take this seriously?
I think we should be paying attention to it right now. I think there are new AI apps and platforms coming out every day. And there is some really important promise that can be delivered to this industry. Now, is it going to impact some roles? I think so. I think there's a lot of positions in our industry that are that are sort of regurgitate data or policies and aren't I'm trying to find the nicest words here, Ben, work with me. That we haven't.
Just give you the rope. What you do with it is up to you, buddy.
Thank you. Right, I might shoot myself in the foot here. I think we should all be working to understand how AI can affect our day-to-day lives and improve our businesses.
I have a confession to make, William. I have a confession.
Yes, sir.
I have a confession. Yes. Okay, real world stuff here. Okay.
Yeah.
I asked ChatGPT to write the copy for the LinkedIn post for you.
I know you did.
Show.
And ChatGPT got it wrong.
Massive error.
Hang on. I'm getting a call from ChatGPT right now, Ben. Hang on. Hello, ChatGPT. Yeah, do better next time, will you? Sorry, they love to call me on the hamburger phone.
They have a customer service line. ChatGPT. Better than Uber. Yeah. They have this is
good. They did get it wrong. I called you out on it last week because you called me the founder and CEO of Relocity. I was like, no, that's a tall, handsome German man named Klaus Sigmund. That's not me. But
I feel like ChatGPT sometimes drinks on the job like we do. And then we get this mumbo jumbo out, and it's like, and then we just go to press with it, because we're not, the computer's smarter than me, right? Hey, all right, let's go. Let's knock off early. Yeah. So my apologies to you and to Klaus about that. But so there's, what? It was comforting. It was comforting to know that I still had purpose, at least for another week, right? Chris Chalk saying assembly lines got rid of jobs too does not mean they are bad.
Look, I mean, I think there's a lot of sort of mundane tasks that we perform in this industry every day. And I'm not picking on anyone in particular. I've got mundane tasks I do as well. I think automation and AI will replace the humans that perform those tasks and make it easier for us. Now, does that mean that there will be new jobs for everyone in our industry? Hard to say. It's early days. But I will say that I think you should be paying attention. You should be learning about AI. You should be going out there and subscribing to some newsletters and checking in on who's doing what, not just ChatGPT, but all of the big players. The big players have been investing in AI. The Microsofts and NVIDIAs, they've been investing for years, and they're sort of reaping the rewards right now. But I do think there's a massive impact that AI will have on our space, not just for us individually as workers in the service provider field, but also for the experience that those transferees have in terms of giving them access to the data and the content and the information that they need when they need it, and not necessarily relying on a human to deliver that for them.
I asked the question in the comments, what do you think about AI's impact on our industry? I want to know what y'all think out there. You're watching this right now. Hit that like button, get in the comments, participate in the conversation. I want to hear from you. We're trying to keep up. William's obviously doing a very poor job of moderating and getting all your questions and comments. So I do apologize.
Awesome.
I should have never let him take the reins. I should have gave it to a bot. My apologies. Mike Feliz says at least yours was a LinkedIn post and not a court brief. Did that happen? Sheesh.
It must have happened.
Yeah,
I
Mike
will say
that's true. I believe him.
There's a cool look. There's a bunch of different sites. I follow a guy on Twitter. Now I have to remember his name. He publishes a newsletter. He has a website called the rundown.ai. And if you subscribe to his newsletter, he publish every week on Twitter, he'll publish like the top 10 new AI tools that have been launched this week.
Oh, wow.
And you can go to his site and just take a look at all of the new tools that are launched and kind of get a quick snapshot on
the rundown. Is it just on Twitter or is it like?
No, it's a web. It's the rundown.ai. And it's got like some really interesting insights into all the different AI apps that are being launched.
Yeah, put a link in the
reporting
comments
tools
and .ai. Yeah, that's cool. I'd like to. Yeah, because I mean, all right. So let me ask you. Okay, here you are. You guys are innovating and disrupting the DSP space. You're gonna start using AI. How does it apply?
I mean, look, we already use it on the back end. Our team last year launched a neighborhood recommendation engine. So one of the things that we do is we help people find homes and schools and communities. And one of the very first pieces of information that we present is in a intuitive interface in our mobile app that we call our neighborhood recommendation engine. So based on different demographic information and what we know about the transferee when we receive that work order authorization from an RMC partner, our engine is able to make some predictions around neighborhoods that might be ideal for them. So we give them this visual of their new city. They have an access to sort of the top 10 recommended neighborhoods. And then of course they engage with the host and we continue to narrow down. But simple example of how we leverage machine learning to deliver a better experience for the transferee. That same engine is being used to make recommendations for housing as well. Now it does get smarter every day, but it relies on us having access to data as it relates to the transferee. So the more data we have on that transferee, the better.
I'm going to ask a real question here. Okay.
Thank you, Sandra, for sharing that.
Sandra's the bomb. I'm going to ask a real question here, and this isn't picking on you, but so I apologize.
Feels like it already. Stop picking on me, buddy.
No, but I was reading actually a post in a recruitment space, and he said AI and machine learning is going to remove bias from the process. And my comment was, well, it's going to be programmed with the bias of the developer, and it's going to learn from the bias of the data and the people that it observes. And so while we as human beings have empathy and want to do the right thing, even though we're limited and flawed, machine learning has no, they don't have emotions like those, like altruism. So, I mean, they're going to give us the data we want, which is oftentimes the most biased data. I mean, look at our news feed, our Twitter feed, our Facebook feed, our whatever feed. It just regurgitates the same information that it knows that we want, basically tells us we already know what we want to see. Right. So I worry a little bit. I'm going to ask you, since, you're talking about making neighborhood recommendations and housing recommendations. And we know that, RESPA laws, right? Real estate laws, avoid steering people to certain things and, things like this because of very bad things that used to happen back in the day. Right. Or that we're trying to get better from, I'll say at least.
Yeah.
Won't say they don't still happen. I know I had a little bit of steering when I was in Detroit. My realtor was like, "Oh, you want to move over here? These are good people." She said, "These are good people. You'd like to move over here. These are good people." I'm like, what do good people mean? Oh, good people. These are good people. I'm like, I see what you doing over here. So my point though is how, does it make things better? Will it make things better or worse? And how do we avoid coming into a situation where our AI tools start to look like our Facebook feeds?
I think we're out of time, Ben. It's been a great show. Thanks for
And
having
that's
me.
our show,
And
everybody.
that's a wrap, everybody. No, look, man, I think it's a very fair point. How do we, is it possible to strip the bias out of the AI? I don't know. I wish I knew. And I think we have to look at all of those solutions with that particular lens and understand that there may be some bias built into those models and the data that they're delivering for us, right? And I would like to think that the people behind the apps that are being rolled out are keeping this in mind and finding ways to present non-biased solutions, right? But who knows? Yeah, I mean, to your point, look, I think where we all benefit in terms of the future of life with AI and ML and automation is, machines will never have the creativity that is inherent in humans, and that's a beautiful thing. So how do we bring that creativity to everything we do in life and everything we do every day for our company and our families and ourselves, and make sure that the machines do not lead to some human extinction, which is what the the creators of AI were worried about yesterday when they apparently sent a letter to the federal government. That's a little bit concerning. Yeah,
dude, I'll be honest with you, man. I'll be honest with you. I've been a very avid non-gun owner for a while. But AI is the first thing that's like really made me reconsider my stance on gun ownership. To be honest with you, I'm like, I don't know I don't even know what type of gauge I'm gonna need to shoot the T2 down. I mean, I looked at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He had nothing could stop those things. I got to go back and watch. I don't know.
I would love to hear more about what Brian's talking about here. So, Brian, huge differentiators: open AI versus closed AI.
Tell us more, Brian.
Brian.
I feel like the mortgage guy just threw like a one-liner out there and walked away from it.
He kind of did. He just kind of dropped the mic, didn't he?
I'm like, that might work at BAM at like midnight, but you can't pull that at like 4 PM over here. Okay. We need like a little more information. What is open AI versus closed AI? Open AI is like Chat GPT, like open source. Like I say open source, like I know what that means. Like anybody could use it and it's learning from everybody kind of thing. Is that the idea? Janet Turner's over. We'll give Brian some time to give us a second line. Janet Turner saying, I wish I knew about Chat GPT when I was that elder intern on the Love and Relo show, although I did get some good old training. Janet used to get so mad at me. She's like, dude. I was like, oh, that's why I knew I was in the doghouse when she duded me. Yeah, super interesting.
I mean, look, I think, we are not so far away from a day where a transferee or an HR manager or a hiring manager can enter a prompt, whether it's into a Chat GPT or even to a speaker like an Alexa that can recognize speech, where they can say something like, based on our policy, what would it cost to move a family of 4 from Brazil to, California? And can you send me that cost estimate? And that tool, in theory, should be able to spit that out to you very quickly. And I honestly think some of those tools already exist. I think there's a lot of the big players in this space that have been working on those types of platforms.
What's funny out here is we're given AI copy to our audience, and they're giving it right back to us, right? So Chuck over here at WHR Global says, I just put in Chat GPT and it says open AI and closed AI are terms used to differentiate between AI systems that are designed to be open and accessible to the public and those that are closed and restricted in their access. Sheesh. Thank you, Chuck.
I mean, look, I think with respect to the closed versus open, there is a lot in our industry that is reliant on data, and a lot of that data is PII. It's sensitive, it's protective, it's private data. And so maybe this, the vision that we've chatted about here in the last 30 minutes will require a number of steps to get there, to get to that step where we can, really create anything we envision through prompting some AI engine, etc. Right?
If you want to go out and make AI pictures of William Taylor and submit them to the show, we will publish them. Get on there. I want to, yeah, Paul, this is a great quote.
Yeah, it is a people business. And I think the people that move will still want that human connection and the support of a human when they need it. But I do think that there will be a very large population of transferees or mobile employees who do not, who
I
are
mean, those
very
long hold
comfortable,
times.
very comfortable doing things on a mobile app or a platform without the support of, without the day-to-day hand-holding of a human.
Maybe a little augmented reality. So I'm touring the neighborhood and I kind of got my Oculus on and I could see the stats on these things. Imagine I'm just driving down the street, right? You ever do this? You ever drive down the street, you know, on the weekend, nothing to do, start pulling up home values as you're driving through neighborhoods, be like, oh, what is this house? Oh, how much does this go for? Oh, what, you know, what kind of, you know, where are we at? Imagine you just had your Oculus on and you're just seeing all the data right in front of the house as you're driving down the street, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just an idea. Hey, you got time? You got a little bit of time on your hands there? William, I got some questions for you.
I got a few more minutes. Let's do it, buddy.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's get into it. Sure. What do you got?
We pay by the minute.
Awesome. I thought I was getting paid by the word here. So,
yeah. Let's get into it here. We got a little overrated, underrated for you. Okay, William, you ready for this?
All right.
My producer's out, so we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. Okay.
Oh boy, man. All right.
You know the way this game works, William?
I could figure it out
rules.
Here. Let's.
Yeah, there's two rules. You're a smart guy. There's two rules. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you a topic, and you the first rule is you can only tell me if it's overrated or underrated.
Okay.
Don't diverge. And the second thing is that I just tell you if you're right or wrong. Okay. All right.
I like that game. Yeah. Totally. I play that game with my kids every day. Yeah. Awesome. I'm usually wrong.
Number one, overrated, underrated, salad.
Overrated.
You know, I should have been more specific. A greenhouse salad.
Okay. Yeah. Caesar salad doesn't matter. Overrated.
Doesn't matter. Let me ask you this. Is there one salad I could have given you that would have went the other way?
I mean, if we're talking some sort of quinoa with maybe some, you know, like some, I don't know, some feta and some roasted vegetables, maybe some chickpeas, a little bit more dynamic than your standard green salad, I would have gone underrated.
I like how chickpeas and quinoa does it for. That's what pushes you over. Not like blue cheese crumbles or some roasted beets or some candied
I'm fine
pecans.
with roasted. I don't discriminate against blue cheese either, man. I'm fine with blue cheese.
All right, I'll allow it. Overrated it is. All right, you're 1 for 1. All right. Next, legumes.
Underrated, buddy. Underrated.
Oh, we found that out in the last question here. Defend yourself.
Yeah. Listen, does anybody even know what a legume is, right? We're talking about like beans, chickpeas, you know, soybean, peanuts, lentils. Who doesn't love lentils?
Most underrated legume, please.
Alfalfa. Lentils. Get into some lentils, right? Tonight. I grew up on lentils. Love it. Good for you, people.
If you told, so through that rainbow door behind you, there are people, I presume. If you just stuck your head out there and said, hey, everybody, tonight we're getting into some lentils, what would be the crowd reaction?
My kids would love it. We make dal all the time. 100%.
You are an incredible parent, and I admire you. However, for this, you're wrong. Legumes are actually overrated. Despite the fact they say lentils is one of those foods that like you could eat that for the rest of your life and live on it. I'm sorry. I'll have to decline the answer. So you're 1 for 2 right now.
Janet Turner said she just made a beautiful lentil dish. Beautiful lentil dish. Boom.
Listen, Janet made me look good for a year. Okay. Doesn't mean it was good. All right.
She knows something then.
You can dress it up, but it's still lentils. Okay.
All right. Here we go. What's
John is saying lentils are the best. You know what? Fine. Whatever. Still wrong. All right. Working from home 5 days a week.
Overrated, man. Let's get back to an office. Let's have some interaction. Let's have some human contact. You know,
do you believe that in your gut? Do you believe that?
I believe it in my gut, man. Right. I'm so burnt out on Zoom and Teams and meetups, and as great as it is to have these conversations virtually, I just like to be next to people, and I just think sparks happen. Magical, beautiful creativity happens only when you can be together.
Get in the comments if you've sat next to William and sparks have happened. Let us know. It's a safe place. I agree. It is
I'm
it
not
is
saying 5
overrated
days a
working
week,
from
man.
office.
I just think 2-3 days a
Just
week
go in.
that change. There's,
Connect.
you can solve. I used to, when I was in an office and we had an open environment, you hear people talking. You can solve problems in real time versus, oh, I have a problem. I have to schedule a meeting with Ben. I wonder if he's free on Thursday.
He's not.
No, let's solve it right here in the kitchen. Let's get some chickpeas and a little bit of lentils and maybe
Start
solve it, right?
popping toasted
Yeah.
chickpeas
You
with
know what?
sumac
Roasted
dusted.
chickpeas. There you go. That's a healthy snack. You roast some chickpeas, you put some herbs on it, put it in the oven. You're going to thank me for that, Ben.
All right.
You're all going to
You're
thank
right.
me.
You're
If
right.
anyone's
Working from
still
home.
here.
Hit that like button if you're still here. Please validate us. Thank you so much. All right. You're 2 for 3 right now. You got 2 right.
All right.
Number 4, the Detroit Lions. Overrated, underrated?
Underrated, man. Underrated this year for sure. I know they're getting a lot of press, but they're going to
This
go
year
to this.
for sure.
They're going to
Says
go.
every
This is
Detroit
our
Lions
year,
fan
man.
for the last
This is our
50
year. Barry Sanders is making a comeback. He's coming back this year. Okay, sorry. I had to go there, man.
He's got some machine learning knees, and he's coming back.
Look,
you know what?
I think
This
they've
actually
got a new culture. Culture is everything. They have a new culture in Detroit.
Well, they got the same culture they had the last 2 years with the coaches biting people in the kneecaps, but nonetheless, y'all have a good little squad. And you know what else?
Yeah.
The rest of the division got worse.
They did.
Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets.
Yeah, but we beat up on him in the last game of last year. We embarrassed them in Green Bay, which was nice. Great way to end the season. We made a statement. And we're going to make a statement in the first game of the season this year versus Kansas City. We're going to go out and win that game. Mark my words.
Wow, you heard it here first. Guaranteeing victory. You know what? I'm gonna say you're right. The Lions this year are underrated overall as a franchise. You know what? They can't even be overrated as a franchise because nobody rates them highly.
That's
so
true. They have to be underrated. That's all they can be is underrated.
Yeah, they really are.
Exactly.
The Honolulu blue and the silver. I mean,
so good, isn't it, man?
The Ford family's got their fingerprints all over that one.
Never give up on my home team. 30 years in San Francisco, still haven't given up on my home team.
Yeah, and they've given you every reason too, and that's loyalty. All right. Lastly, destination services as a benefit.
Underrated. It should be core to every policy. High impact, low cost. What could be more important than finding an employee and their family a place to live in a safe and secure neighborhood and getting those kids in the right school and in the right aftercare, hockey team, whatever it might be that they're into. We talked about it an hour ago. I get it. I'm a little bit biased, but I just, I tend to feel that DS often gets the line item veto because we need to rebrand ourselves. What the hell is destination services? That's the worst branding in the whole industry.
Nobody knows.
Quite frankly, there's some bad branding in this industry. Right?
Terrible branding.
Corporate housing. I just threw up. Okay.
I used to work at 1-800-PACK-RAT.
Okay. There you go. Pack Rat. Really? That's a company?
Sorry. Hey, no, they're fine. Sorry.
There you have it, man. DSP is underrated. Get into it. I mean, I think.
No, but you're right. Okay, but you know what? I'm going to
great.
allow this on the one condition. You said it's got to be core. Every single service provider I have on this show believes their service needs to be core. Who are you voting off the island? Who is core that shouldn't be, William? Defend yourself.
Sorry, Quigley. We're going to sell all the IKEA furniture. We're going to cash it out. We're not moving any good. Sorry. To all my friends in the moving business. We're not moving.
We're going to show you around this neighborhood of beautiful homes
donate it.
that will be empty forever, in perpetuity, ad infinitum, because you have no more household goods.
There we go. Chris Chalk has it as a core benefit, capital core. I don't know if that's different than lowercase core.
I feel like that's an acronym. Yeah. Chris, what is a core? What is it? Everything is everything core? What's not core? Is there? What's not core? No, listen. I listen. I think DS. I think you're right. I think it's severely underrated. Let me ask you this: is it core for domestic relocations?
100%, man. This is the thing that really is frustrating me, and I would love if we could solve it right here and right now. Right?
Let's go.
If you're providing. We don't Relocity. The industry tends to distinguish between DS because that's only for international and domestic rental search. Hello, friends. That is what a DS provides: is rental search assistants. It's like 70% of what we do, right? It frustrates me that that certain programs and providers, bifurcate those two benefits. It's the same. Let's just all come together as one happy DS family and stop calling it rental search. Let's call it domestic DS, or let's all get together in a room and rebrand it. Maybe ChatGPT has some ideas there, but
I think
that has been a source
ADS
of
is already
frustration.
taken as an acronym for dental.
We could do a whole separate hour, Ben, on the mysteries
Let's
of
do
the
it.
supplier side.
I'm just kidding.
That because I spent a lot of years on the corporate side, and when you come to the supplier side, there's a whole lot of aha moments where you say, "Why do we do it that way?" And the response is typically because we've been doing it that way forever, and that is, of course, the definition of insanity. So, on that positive note,
I love how you whisper when you want to make a point, and I'm not going to take it away from you. I think it's brilliantly employed.
Thanks, buddy.
I love you
dearly.
dearly.
Can I count on your vote in 2024? I don't know if that's
if you're running on the domestic destination services platform.
That is my platform. Everybody gets domestic DS. You get a car and you get rental search assistance, except we call it domestic DS.
Yes. I love it. Yeah. I absolutely love it. You know what? Just real quick here. I want to just give you. This has been a lot of fun. We've talked about everything. Hit that like button one more time for William. William, why don't you close this out with just a final thought here?
I would say, Ben, thank you for bringing our community together over the last few years. I love what you've created. You have a fantastic team at Love and Relo. I'm a fan of yours.
Appreciate you.
I would say, let's wake up every day as an industry and ask ourselves, how can we do things better? How can we do things differently? Because I do believe that there are many pieces of our industry that have accepted the status quo and have accepted this is the way we've always done it. So it doesn't hurt to break everything and start over.
Yeah,
I'll leave it on that positive note. I'm not saying break everything tomorrow, but you should be looking at things on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis and asking yourselves, do we have the right processes? Do we have the right suppliers? Do I know everything I need to know about the industry to make sure that I can deliver results for the company?
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Cool.
Thanks for the kind words. Shout out to the team. Also, you make a great point. All the people that make Love and Relo possible. Did you know, William, that our 500th episode is coming up this summer?
I do, and I was so disappointed that you didn't wait for me to be the 500th guest. But hey, I'll take 479 any day. It's cool.
I've been saving myself for you for 3 years, William. It's never panned out for me.
You know what? I would have been busy that day. I had
bait.
plans. I was probably
He's
golfing.
washing his hair, ladies and gentlemen.
I was definitely washing my hair.
Thank you so much for being here today. We love you all. We will catch y'all